Number 1.
35 years ago, a young mother would disappear from Kansas City, Missouri. She would leave behind 3 young children, the youngest being only 2 months old. Her case has gone cold and there is very little information available. Despite that lack of information, Kimberly's story deserves to be shared. On July 5, 1984, Kimberly asked a friend of hers to babysit her 3 children so she could go to work. It was around 6 o'clock in the evening when she dropped the children off at her friend's home, which was located around the 4500 block of Kensington Avenue. That was the last time Kimberly would be seen, although some info indicates she was seen near the corner of 45th and Kensington. The following information varies among websites, and I tend to rely more on Charlie Project for accurate info, so I will be using that here. I have included links to the other sites which have varying stories. It appears that later in the evening, Kimberly called a friend asking for a ride home and possibly indicating she was in some sort of trouble. During the call, she said 20 in Kansas before the call ended abruptly. There is a 37-mile Interstate 20 in Kansas. 2 days later, on July 7th, a friend of Carter's claimed she called him between 2 and 3 p.m. and asked him for a ride home. She said she was on Interstate 35 in Kansas and asked him to give her a ride home. When he said he couldn't give her a ride, Kimberly told him, "One of the men said he would take me home." During this time, Kimberly may have been seen in a green Chevy Nova. I do not know the name of her friend, nor who may have seen her in the car. There is some speculation that Kimberly may have been living a risky lifestyle and may have been involved with some unsavory people. She had her first child at 15 and had dropped out of high school. Despite this, Kimberly's loved ones insist she would not have left her children voluntarily. Vera Owsley, Kimberly's mother, raised her 3 grandchildren who are now adults. They never got to know their mother as they were so young when she vanished. Vera has never given up hope that her daughter is alive, despite the family believing Kimberly met with foul play. In 2006, an unidentified Pennsylvania businessman offered up $2 million in reward money to help police solve 20 missing person cases. Kimberly's name was on that list. Despite a $100,000 reward being on the table, sadly no one ever came forward with any info as to what may have happened. The reward was only offered for 19 days. Kimberly was only 19 years old when she disappeared. She was 5'3" and 115 pounds. She had black hair, brown eyes and pierced ears. She was wearing a black pantsuit and white hat. Despite all the time that has passed and how cold her case is, I hope one day her family and most especially her children get answers as to what happened to Kimberly. A few years ago, I might not have felt as much hope as I do now, but so many missing persons cases are being solved, and I hope Kimberly's is one of them. So what happened to Kimberly? Did she leave voluntarily? Did she catch a ride with the wrong person? Is the friend who said he spoke to her on July 7th somehow involved?
Number 2.
In December of 2014, just a little over a week before Christmas, Amanda Caudill disappeared. She departed, leaving only a handwritten note and taking nothing with her but her cell phone. The Crawford County Sheriff's Department swept the area with the help of family and concerned citizens, even implementing a K-9 unit search. And while the Sheriff's Department reported no signs of foul play, 2 years later, there is still no sign of Amanda. Cases like Amanda's are surprisingly common throughout the country. In Missouri alone, the State Highway Patrol currently reports over 1,000 missing persons, with many of these being young adults. They go missing for a wide variety of reasons, and each case is as unique as the individual who's disappeared, but the common thread between them is the people they leave behind to worry and search for them after they're gone. Many of these loved ones turn to Missouri Missing, a state and federal recognized non-profit organization dedicated to raising awareness for these missing people and doing all they can to find them. Missouri Missing's executive board is staffed by those who are or have been affected by a missing loved one and have their hearts deeply invested in the reports that come their way. Mary Ann Asher Chapin is the co-founder of Missouri Missing and spends her mornings making and printing out flyers decorated with the faces of loved ones who can't be found. She works with the families of the missing to spread awareness for the individuals and does her best each day to shorten the pain these families are feeling. It is a feeling that she and the rest of the Missouri missing staff are all too familiar. Mary Ann's own daughter went missing over 13 years ago, driving her to help others in the same situation. She said even years later she still keeps her eye out for any sign of her daughter, and every once in a while, still finds reason to hope for her return. Mary Ann said that even when people have been missing for years, their loved ones still look for them. There is a misconception out there about missing persons, said Mary Ann. Sometimes people think they want to be missing and don't want to be found. No one wants to go missing. If they do go missing, it's because there's a problem somewhere. Mary Ann spoke from the family's point of view, sharing what it's like to be a part of a loved one's disappearance and what people can do to assist them in such a difficult situation. The families are desperate and frantic, especially in the beginning, said Mary Ann. We need to be respectful and help any way we can. Spreading awareness through word of mouth and social media is key to any search, according to Mary Ann. Simply sharing the search online can allow more people to be involved, but the most important way to help is to keep your eyes open and to be aware yourself. The Missouri Missing Organization promotes several campaigns to raise awareness for the state's missing individuals. For example, they started a campaign raising hunters' awareness of the issue, using them as their eyes and ears in the woods and other outdoor areas, staying alert for signs of any missing person. According to Mary Ann, anyone can be of help to the cause just by staying alert and speaking out about a missing person's disappearance. It's about working together, she said. There will be a benefit to raise awareness for Amanda Caudill's disappearance. Those who are interested and willing to help can visit the Public House Brewery in St. James on February 18 from 6 to 9 p.m. for the Let's Bring Her Home awareness and fundraising event. According to a press release from Missouri Missing, the event is to reignite awareness on Amanda Caudill's behalf and for all those who have not made it home. There will be t-shirts and a silent auction in her honor, with all proceeds going to Missouri Missing. We look forward to this benefit and hope to see a good turnout for Amanda. She needs all the help we can give her, Mary Ann said. I would like people to attend the benefit. It would be great to have that support. She encourages people to weigh in on the effort even if they can't attend. Amanda was last noted as 5'8" and 145 pounds with blue eyes. Those with any information can contact Missouri Missing at 573-619-8100 or the Crawford County Sheriff's Office at 573-775-2125.
Number 3.
Chapin was last seen at her apartment outside of Steelville in Dent County, Missouri on February 14, 2006. Her fiancé stated they said goodbye when he left that morning, and when he returned in the evening, Chapin was gone and her mother was cleaning out her apartment. Chapin's mother, Sandra Clem, stated Chapin had gone to Florida with another man in a black 2000 Chevrolet Cavalier. She has never been heard from again. She wasn't reported missing until November 2008, and the Dent County Sheriff's Office didn't actually begin investigating her case until 2012, 6 years after she was last seen. Her mother has never cooperated with the investigation into her daughter's disappearance. Chapin's fiancé moved out of the apartment about a month after her disappearance. When cleaning out the unit, the apartment building's owner noted that a window was broken and there was a large dark-colored stain on the carpet that couldn't be shampooed out. The apartment owner didn't suspect foul play at the time and threw the carpet away. The unit was later destroyed in an accidental fire. Chapin's stepfather, Gary McCullough, disappeared in 1999 when she was 13 years old. In 2003, Chapin went to Gary's brother Albert and told him her Sandra had shot Gary 3 times in the head and then made her help clean up the crime scene. Chapin said she and Sandra cleaned up the blood, pulled up the carpets and bleached the floor, and they wrapped Gary's body in plastic and burned it in a brush fire until only bone fragments remained. She had told a similar story to one of her sisters. She said she did it because she didn't want her mother to go to prison and leave her 5 sisters without a caregiver. Albert recorded Chapin's statement without her knowledge and took the tape to the authorities. When the sheriff's office contacted Chapin, however, Sandra hired a lawyer for her, and she exercised her right to remain silent and refused to speak to the police. She did not recant her statement, however. Sandra claimed her marriage to Gary was a happy one, but Gary's friends stated the relationship was very troubled and he planned to leave her and was moving his belongings into a friend's residence. She was having an affair with Christopher Clem at the time of Gary's disappearance, something Christopher admitted to the police. Gary was allegedly aware of the affair. Within a few days of Gary's disappearance, Christopher had moved in with Sandra. In June 1999, authorities charged Clem with conspiracy to commit murder. He allegedly tried to hire someone to kill Gary. The charge was dropped for lack of evidence in August 1999, however. Christopher and Sandra married each other in May 2000, 1 month after she obtained a divorce from Gary. Christopher was Sandra's fourth husband. Gary's brother Albert had been her second, and Gary was her third. Chapin disappeared approximately 3 years after she made her statement. She left a young son in Sandra's care. Sandra had wanted legal guardianship over Chapin's son, but Chapin refused to consent, saying it would happen over my dead body. She wanted to take the child with her and move to Arkansas. Sandra has since adopted the boy. Gary was declared legally dead in 2005. In 2012, his 2 daughters filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Chapin, Sandra and Christopher, as well as Christopher's former wife, Jennifer Lee Bratton Clem. The lawsuit alleged Sandra and Christopher conspired to kill Gary. Jennifer allegedly picked Christopher up outside the McCullough property in the early morning hours around the time Gary disappeared, and Christopher had a gun with him at the time. Although a summons was issued for Chapin to testify in the civil trial, it was never delivered. The tape-recorded statement she made was not played before the jury, although Chapin's sister testified that Chapin had made a similar statement to her. 2 of Sandra's children stated they had seen Gary's truck still parked at home on the evening of his disappearance, after Sandra said he had already left. In the summer of 2013, the civil jury unanimously awarded $7 million in damages to Gary's daughters in connection with his wrongful death. Christopher and Sandra divorced in 2014, and Sandra has since married her 5th husband and lives in Mount Vernon, Missouri. Chapin attended Salem High School, but did not graduate. She got involved with drugs while she was still young and got into minor trouble with the law, but she was close to her family, and her sisters said she tried to be a good mother to her son and would not have willingly abandoned him. There has been no activity on Chapin's social security number since her disappearance, and she left all her belongings behind. It's unclear whether Gary and Chapin's disappearances are connected, but foul play is suspected in both cases.
Number 4.
Colden was last seen sitting in her car in her driveway in the 12,600 block of Countrybrook Drive in Spanish Lake, Missouri on December 18, 2011. Her father saw her drive away at 2:20 p.m. On the morning of her disappearance, Phoenix and her mother Goldie had attended church and went grocery shopping before returning to their home in the 12,600 BO Countrybrook Drive. Phoenix went outside to play basketball in her driveway. A few minutes later, she got into her black 1998 black Chevy Blazer with tinted windows. It was not unusual for her to make calls from inside the car. Phoenix's father Lawrence saw her back out of the driveway around 3 p.m. and assumed she was going to a nearby convenience store or a friend's house. Phoenix's best friend's mother told police she spoke to her briefly and saw her leave the neighborhood between 4:30–4:45 p.m. Phoenix's SUV was found abandoned at an intersection in the 900 BO St. Clair Avenue in East St. Louis, Illinois at 5:30 p.m., about 30 minutes from her home. The driver's side door was open and the engine was running. Phoenix had not been reported missing yet, and police had the vehicle towed after confirming it wasn't stolen. Phoenix's parents describe her as a polite, quiet, and intelligent young woman who loves God and was homeschooled up until she graduated from high school. She plays several musical instruments and is a regional fencing champion. After Phoenix turned 18, she told her parents she was moving in with a female friend, but they later found out she was living with a boyfriend named Michael B. Phoenix's friends said that her behavior changed drastically about 6 months before she went missing. She moved back in with her parents, withdrew from her classes at the University of Missouri, and became extremely paranoid. About a month before she went missing, Phoenix recorded a selfie video talking about her current mental state. In the video, she says she wants to start over, but feels like she can't, asks God to help me accept the things that won't change, and that I won't change the things that I can't change, and says I just want to be happy. Man, I can't remember a time when I was happy. Genuinely happy. I feel so stupid, because I let myself go a little bit. I probably would have been in a better situation if I would have stuck with how it used to be. Some investigators believe Phoenix fell in with the wrong crowd and left to start a new life, but are concerned about her welfare due to her mental state and how her car was found. At the time of her disappearance, Phoenix was 5'3", 125 pounds, and black with black hair, brown eyes, and pierced ears. She was last seen wearing a black or dark blue hoodie, gray sweatpants with the word Linwood or the letters USML on one leg, and black sneakers. Phoenix would be 32 years old today. She may wear glasses. Contact the St. Louis County Police Department 314-615-5317 with any information about her disappearance.
Number 5.
Chloe was last seen in Kansas City, Missouri on March 15, 2006. She was abducted by her non-custodial mother, Aline Rivas Vera. A felony warrant for kidnapping was issued for her on May 18, 2006. Photographs of Aline are posted with this case summary. Her date of birth is June 22, 1980, making her 25 years old at the time of Chloe's abduction. She's described as Hispanic, with light brown hair and green eyes. Aline is a Mexican citizen. She speaks English, French and Spanish. She may use the last names Combe and/or Combe Rivas. She may have suicidal tendencies. At the time she abducted from Chloe, Aline was in the process of a divorce from the child's father, Didier Combe. Didier is a native of France, but became a naturalized American citizen in 2003. Aline is a Mexican citizen who was living in the United States on a student visa in 2006. Aline and Didier shared custody of Chloe during their divorce proceedings. Aline fled with Chloe during a court-ordered visit. Didier was granted full custody of his daughter afterwards. Aline and Chloe are known to have flown to Mexico via Houston, Texas. Didier filed a lawsuit against Continental Airlines in connection with Chloe's abduction. Mexican law requires a single-parent passenger traveling alone with a minor child to present a notarized letter from the absent parent authorizing travel for that child out of the United States into Mexico. According to Didier, Continental Airlines never asked to see Aline's letter, in violation of the law and its own policies, and thus failed to prevent Chloe's abduction. Didier has made at least 6 trips to Mexico to try and get Chloe returned to him. He has filed for her return under the Hague Convention on the Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction. Aline filed for full custody of her daughter in Mexican courts, but this was denied. Aline's mother and twin brother, who both live in the Kansas City area, both traveled to Mexico City to testify against Aline and request Chloe's return to the United States. In April 2008, a Mexican family court judge ruled that, as Chloe had been living in Mexico since 2006, she should remain there. Didier appealed, however, and in November 2009, a Mexican high court ordered Chloe's return to the United States and the care of her father. Aline and Chloe went into hiding after the ruling, however, and their current whereabouts are unknown. They are presumed to still be in Mexico, probably in the Mexico City area, where Aline has relatives. Chloe's case remains unsolved.
Number 6.
On the evening of November 18, 2008, David Clem Cook left his job at the Kansas City Power and Light Plant in Amsterdam, Missouri. According to law enforcement, the last reliable sighting of David was at 10:30 p.m. that evening as he left work. In addition to working mornings and evenings at the power plant, Cook was also a full-time rancher. He managed an 8,000-acre cattle ranch, consisting of bison and over 1,000 heads of cattle. The work was labor-intensive and demanding. Cook worked grueling hours every day, all year round, in order to maintain the ranch. Police believe that on the morning of November 19, Cook possibly woke up to begin his day before meeting with an employee of his ranch at around 7 a.m. The ranch hand said that he and David checked on a herd of cattle just a few miles from Cook's home. Cook supposedly drove home on a four-wheeler. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, the employee is not considered a completely reliable source. David Cook missed an important business meeting with several of his business partners on the afternoon of November 19. When he did not show up for his evening shift at the Kansas City Power and Light plant later that day, friends and family were immediately concerned, as it was out of character. Cook was reported missing the next day, after an extensive search by loved ones failed to find him. Both of Cook's vehicles were found at his home near Amsterdam, Mo. His biffled wallet was found inside his residence, with no indications of forced entry or foul play. His cell phone has not been used since and disappeared with him, along with his eyeglasses and money clip. David Cook is an avid outdoorsman and has one daughter. He is divorced but was on good terms with his ex-wife at the time of his disappearance. He was not involved in drugs, alcohol or gambling. Cook was a prominent figure in his community and was known as a hard-working, reliable man at the time he went missing. It is highly uncharacteristic of Cook to miss work and not be in contact with his family. Cook was last seen on November 18 to 19, 2008 in Amsterdam, Missouri. He was 55 years old, birth year is 1952, when he disappeared, and would currently be 67 years old. He grew up in Ballard, Missouri, and was the oldest of 7 siblings. He is currently classified as an endangered missing person, and police strongly suspect foul play was involved in his disappearance. He had no known enemies. David Clem Cook is described as a Caucasian male. He has brown hair and blue eyes. He is 6 and weighs 200 pounds. Cook wears eyeglasses. It is unknown what he may have been wearing at the time of his disappearance. If you have any information concerning David's whereabouts, please contact the Bates County Sheriff's Department at 660-679-3232.